For a first Key West trip, don't build the day from saved photos and random pins. Build it from what actually happens on the ground. The breakfast places get busy. The famous buoy may have moved from the spot an older video shows. Dry Tortugas needs a real booking before the trip. Duval looks short until the heat starts arguing with everybody. This 4-day plan keeps the classic stops, the good food, the water time, and the sunset moments in an order that actually helps first-timers enjoy the island without feeling rushed. Stay through day 4 too, because that is where a lot of trips either slow down beautifully or turn into one last sweaty chase before packing. Day 1. Old Town, Hemingway, Southernmost Point, and sunset. Start your first morning in Old Town. Whitehead Street, Petronia Street, or the lower end of Duval all put you in the right zone. Here, the houses have deep porches, the streets sit close together, and the best plan is usually to stop moving the car. If you are not staying nearby, park once in a real lot or the Old Town garage on Grinnell, then walk. Old Town is much better when you are looking at the houses, the trees, and the little side streets instead of hunting for another meter. For breakfast, choose based on your patience. Blue Heaven is the classic Key West start near Petronia and Thomas, with roosters wandering around and a courtyard that gives the morning some personality before you even reach the first attraction. Go early if you want it, because breakfast and lunch are first come, first served. For a group that moves slowly before coffee, Moondog Cafe and Bakery is the safer start near Hemingway Home and the Lighthouse. It gives you pastries, coffee, and a good meal without letting breakfast take control of the morning. Hemingway Home should be the first real stop. Get there near opening if you can. The house was built in 1851, and Hemingway lived there during the 1930s. Key West then was still tied to fishing, wrecking stories, Cuban roots, and a strange mix of writers and sailors passing through. The tour keeps it from becoming a slow walk through old furniture. The pool also has a good story. It was the first in-ground pool in Key West, and the museum says it cost $20,000 in the late 1930s, which makes today's hotel resort fee complaints sound a little less dramatic. The cats are part of the visit, but keep them in their proper place. The museum is home to nearly 60 polydactyl cats, and many have the extra toes people come looking for. You do not need to turn the whole stop into a cat hunt. They are around, they know they are famous, and they have probably seen more tourists than any of us ever will. After Hemingway, walk across to the Key West Lighthouse if the group has energy. The climb is 88 steps. That is short enough for many travelers, but still enough to punish a bad footwear decision. The reward is a clear look over Old Town roofs, palms, and water. It also helps you understand why Key West can trick people. Everything looks close from up there, but the sun still gets a vote once you are back on the street. From the lighthouse, move toward the Southernmost Point area. Use the current location here, not a memory from somebody else's vacation. The city placed a temporary buoy at 1499 Duval Street, while repair work continues at the usual South and Whitehead location. The original buoy was set up in 1983 and points to the famous 90 miles to Cuba idea. But right now, the practical advice is simple. Find the current setup first, then decide whether the line is worth it. If the line is long, take the wider street photo and keep your morning alive. Lunch should stay near the south end. Banana Cafe on Duval makes sense here because it is close to the southernmost area and can handle breakfast, lunch, or dinner, depending on your timing. If you are drifting farther up Duval and want seafood without a long sit-down meal, DJ's Clam Shack is good for a lobster roll or conch fritters. Clams and fish tacos are there too. Keep it casual. Day 1 is already full enough. Use the afternoon for a light Duval walk, not a full Duval mission. Look into shops, cool off when you need to, and remember that Duval in daylight is more useful when you are not treating it like a dare. A calmer stop on this side of the island is the Key West Butterfly and Nature Conservatory. It is open during the day, with last admission at 4:30, so do it before late afternoon plans start squeezing everything. End at Mallory Square, but arrive knowing what it is. The Sunset Celebration is a nightly festival with performers, vendors, food carts, and crowds that build before the sky even changes colour. It can be a lot of fun because it is busy, not because it is quiet. For dinner, move away from the tightest sunset crowd. For a real meal after all that walking, El Siboney is a strong Cuban dinner. Santiago's bodega in Bahama Village is better when your group wants a slower sit-down ending. Either way, let the night finish close to Old Town instead of adding another long march. Day 2. Waterfront history, Fort Zachary Taylor, and a smarter food day. Day 2 should start by the historic seaport or the waterfront side of Old Town. The mood is different over here. You get boats, old warehouse corners, treasure stories, and Truman history. You also get that bright Key West water, which can make everyone suddenly forgive the morning heat. Keep breakfast lighter today. Near the seaport, Cuban Coffee Queen is good for coffee, a pressed breakfast sandwich, or a Cuban bread start that does not trap the group in a slow meal. Pick your first history stop by what your group actually likes. Mel Fisher Maritime Museum is the better choice for shipwreck, treasure, archaeology, and the stranger side of Key West's relationship with the sea. The museum is open daily from 10 to 4, and it is more serious than some people expect. Yes, there is treasure. There are also artifacts that had to be recovered and protected. Some had been underwater for centuries before anyone saw them again. That is why the stop is more interesting than a shiny coin story. For American politics and Key West's military past, go to the Truman Little White House. Truman spent 175 days working and staying there between 1946 and 1952. That number makes the place more than a presidential vacation house. It was a real working White House for stretches of his presidency, with meetings, papers, and decisions following him down to the island. It also gives viewers a side of Key West that has nothing to do with beach towels or souvenir photos. Do not try to force both stops if your group is already fading. One good visit is better than 2 half visits, where everyone is secretly thinking about lunch. If it is Wednesday through Saturday and the timing fits, the Florida Keys Eco Discovery Center can also slide into this part of the day. It is free, open from 9 to 4 on those days, and useful if you want to understand the reef and sanctuary before spending more time near the water. If it is closed, skip it calmly. Lunch belongs near the waterfront. Eaton Street, seafood market and restaurant makes sense when you want casual seafood that still belongs to the island. The fish sandwich, shrimp tacos, lobster roll, and fresh fish case all make sense here because you are already on the side of town where seafood should be part of the day. Kermit's Key Lime Shop on Elizabeth Street is close enough to become the dessert stop without turning the afternoon into a food crawl. The Key Lime Pie stop also gives the group a reset before Fort Zach, which is useful if anyone has started walking like a tired toddler. The afternoon should go toward Truman Waterfront and Fort Zachary Taylor. The day gets better when it moves from indoor history to open space and water. Fort Zach opens at 8 in the morning and the park stays open until sundown, while the fort closes at 5. That matters. If you care about the fort itself, see it before you commit to beach time. The fort has more behind it than people expect. It was built to protect Key West Harbor. Union troops held it during the Civil War, and Florida State Parks says a large supply of Civil War-era guns and ammunition was found in the buried arsenal in 1968. The park also says the fort held the largest collection of Civil War-era cannons in the United States. That is a much better reason to visit than simply saying there is a beach nearby. After the fort, use the beach, but be honest with the group. Fort Zach has a beautiful water setting and shade in parts of the park, but the beach can be rocky. Water shoes help here. Snorkeling can be good when conditions cooperate. Wind, clouds, storms, and water movement can change visibility. Check the flags. respect the rocks and reef life, and do not promise anyone a glass-clear swim before you have seen the water. For dinner, do not repeat the Mallory Square sunset crush unless you truly loved it and want round two. Banana Cafe is useful if you are back on Duval and want a simple dinner. Choose El Siboney if Cuban food did not happen on day one. Santiago's Bodega gives the day a slower finish near Bahama Village. Day 2 should end with water, the fort, and old island stories, not a whole day of dragging people from door to door. Day 3, Dry Tortugas, snorkeling, or the backup day people forget to plan. Day 3 is the one you cannot fake. Dry Tortugas is almost 70 miles west of Key West, and the National Park Service says you can only get there by boat or seaplane. Most day visitors use the Yankee Freedom Ferry, and that ferry controls the entire day. Day trip check-in is at 7 in the morning. Boarding is around 7:30, departure is at 8, arrival at Fort Jefferson is around 10:15, and the ferry usually gets back to Key West around 5:15. Weather can shift timing, so give the day space. That alone changes how the whole day should be planned. Do not plan a slow breakfast before this. Get coffee, eat something simple, and arrive on time. Use Cuban Coffee Queen if the location and timing fit. But this is not the morning for Blue Heaven or a long brunch. The ferry ticket includes a breakfast snack and a box lunch, which is helpful, but it is still a boat day, not a floating restaurant day. The ride out is long enough that everyone should know what they signed up for. The trip suits travelers who like remote places, forts, water, and a full day away from town. It may be too much for someone who hates boats or gets bored 10 minutes after leaving the dock. That is not a failure. Be honest before the ticket is bought, because reservations are limited and can sell out months ahead. When you arrive, start with Fort Jefferson. Fort Jefferson is what separates Dry Tortugas from a normal beach trip. The fort is massive, unfinished, and built with more than 16 million bricks. The National Park Service calls it the largest masonry structure in the Americas. Standing inside those walls, with water all around and no city noise behind you, is the moment people understand why the trip took so much planning. Keep the history respectful. Fort Jefferson was a military site and later a prison, and the island setting can make harsh history look strangely beautiful. Walk the fort, look at the brick arches, take in the moat wall, and give yourself time to see the scale before running straight to the water. Then choose snorkeling or beach time based on conditions. Some days the water is clear enough to make the long ride completely worth it. Other days, wind and visibility change the plan. Bring sun protection, follow reef rules, do not touch coral, and listen to staff instructions. Out here, small mistakes get bigger because the park is so remote. If someone forgot sunscreen or thinks the sun is not that strong, the island will correct them quickly. When you get back to Key West, keep dinner simple. You may come back happy and tired in the same body. After the ferry, El Siboney is a good choice for a filling Cuban meal without turning the evening into an event. Banana Cafe can also make sense if your hotel is closer to the south end of Duval. Do not book a tight fancy dinner right after the ferry unless your whole group enjoys showering at emergency speed. If Dry Tortugas is sold out, the backup should not become 6 random ideas. Make it a Key West water day with one clear plan. If you did not spend enough time at Fort Zach on day 2, go back and use it properly. If you want a different beach mood, use Higgs Beach. It has restrooms, showers, beach access, and a mobility mat. If you pass the African burial site memorial nearby, treat it with quiet respect. Higgs is also a good reminder that Key West beaches are real beaches, but not always the postcard version people imagine. Sargassum, wind, and watercolor can change the day. For a backup lunch, Eaton Street Seafood is the safer seafood choice when you are closer to Old Town. DJ's Clam Shack is better when you are already walking Duval and want something fast. Kermit's can be the dessert stop if morale needs help. The main thing is not to treat the backup as a downgrade. It can still be a really good Key West day. It lets you sleep past 6 in the morning. Day 4. Beaches, nature, food stops, or a slow Key West finish. Day 4 should not become a panic basket of leftovers. By now, you know how your group handles heat, walking, food waits, and water time, so choose one of 2 tracks and stop trying to impress the island. Track A is for beach, nature, and one more outdoor morning inside Key West. Use Smathers Beach if the group wants the most open beach morning on the island. It has restrooms and showers, and the city lists paid parking during posted enforcement hours, so plan that part before you arrive. Smathers is long by Key West standards, with room to spread out, but do not promise perfect water. Sargassum, wind, and summer storms can change the look and smell of the beach. Go earlier, use sun protection, and leave before the day turns into a heat complaint meeting. If Smathers does not look good that day, choose the Butterfly and Nature Conservatory instead of forcing beach time. It is especially good for families, couples who want a softer final morning, or anyone who has had enough sun. You walk through tropical plants while butterflies move around you, and it gives the final day color without needing another boat schedule. Just keep the hours in mind, because last admission is at 4:30. Food on Track A should fit the route. Banana Cafe near the south end of Duval is useful before or after Smathers. For a faster start, Cuban Coffee Queen can handle coffee and a sandwich. If you come back toward Old Town for lunch, Eaton Street Seafood gives you one last seafood meal that still makes sense with the route. Kermit's is the final key lime pie stop. If you have not done it yet, do it while people are still cheerful, not when everyone is standing beside luggage. Track B is the slow Old Town finish. Choose this if the group is done with beach towels, damp bags, and sunscreen. Start with Sarah Beth's on Simonton for brunch if you want a calmer sit-down meal, or go to Moondog Cafe and Bakery if you missed it earlier and want coffee, pastries, and a good final walk near Whitehead. This track is not the lazy choice. It suits people who want a last day with porches, shade, food, and a real walk instead of a race against checkout. Pick one relaxed visit. If you skipped Mel Fisher, do it here. If Truman Little White House got pushed aside, use it now. If the lighthouse never happened and the group can handle the 88 steps, climb it earlier in the day. If the Eco Discovery Center is open and you want a free indoor stop near the waterfront, that can also take the slot. Do not stack all of them. A final day with one good stop and time to wander is better than a final day where everyone is sweating through a museum because the itinerary said so. On Track B, give the final walk a little space. Old Town is not only the named stops, it is the shade under sea grape trees, the small fences, and the bright shutters. It is also the sudden view of water at the end of a street. Viewers enjoy that kind of Key West footage because it shows the place between the famous signs. Use the rest of Track B for the details people remember. Walk a few Old Town blocks without aiming at a major attraction. Look at the wooden houses, the shutters, the small gardens, and the way chickens cross streets with total confidence. Stop for Kermit's if pie never happened. Use Blue Heaven for dinner, only if the timing is friendly and the wait does not eat your last night. Santiago's Bodega is a good final sit-down dinner when you want the trip to end with an actual conversation. Families may lean toward Track A because kids often need one more open space before travel. Couples and adult groups may prefer Track B because a slow final afternoon can be nicer than forcing one more swim. Neither track has to prove anything. That is what Day 4 is for. Key West gives you famous stops, but the best final hours are often the ones where you stop chasing proof that you saw enough. The best Key West trip does not end with every attraction crossed off. Leave one line, one museum, or one beach for another visit if that keeps the day better. Take the last walk slowly. Notice the porches, the heat coming off the pavement, the chickens acting busy, and the water appearing between buildings when you least expect it. Key West is small, but it asks for better planning than people give it. Plan the ferry, place the meals where they help, respect the sun, and leave room for the island to surprise you.